Greetings all, welcome back to Lamech's Effects. Today, I'll have an effect on the new movie coming out, The Little Mermaid. Basically, I'll explain how making Ariel black is an insult to all black people. All the Caucasians were angered when this Caucasian character is going to be played by and representation for a black woman. But I'm going to show why black people should be more against this movie than any other race of people. In any case, like and subscribe and share this with whoever is even thinking about this movie. Whether they want to see the movie or not is inconsequential. Now, let us begin. Now, I know that not many of you are professional writers. However, when I was studying my craft in college, I was given a document called a character builder sheet. In it, I had to list everything about a character: height, weight, what kind of food they like, favorite words or phrases, likes, dislikes, gender, and ethnicity. I had to do this because every one of these things defines the character's place in the story. This is important because the same quality could mean different things depending on how the character is used in the story. For example, if a person liked video games. See, in Agretzko, video games symbolized a lazy boyfriend who couldn't get motivation to get a job. But in Rising of a Shield Hero, it meant being able to think outside the box to solve complex problems. Both characters like video games, but the role of the characters changed what the story said about the quality of liking video games. Now, race has the same effect, the effect being that the exact same story will have a completely different meaning if I change the race of the person in it. Like, imagine if I made the 4 kids in A Chronicles of Narnia black, and these black people need to band together to fight the White Witch. I don't think I need to explain that. And I might do a video about it though if you leave a comment asking about it. But today we're talking about how blackness changes Ariel's story. So, before we look at what blackness does to Ariel's character, we must understand her role in the story and what her actions mean without it. Ariel's role in the story is that she doesn't like her home. She is fascinated by a different race of people and wants to be like them. She wants to be part of that world. So much so that she wants to marry a prince of that foreign race. Her father tells her, stay away from those people, that they are dangerous. But she rebels against her father and meets with her father's enemy to get what she wants anyway. Because of that, she sells her soul to this devil and gets her voice taken. As payment, she gets to be like the people of the different race for a short time. Turns out, Ariel is completely useless and provides no value, so her friends have to step in and help her reach her goal. Because of her own stupidity and desire to change her race, she gets her father enslaved and she nearly gets killed. If it were not for everyone else, she probably would have died. She is the most worthless character in all of media, and the story teaches that if you mess up enough, eventually you'll get everything you want. Try to tell me that's not what the story is about. He's a human, she's a mermaid, but she believes love transcends race, right? Isn't that the story? Okay, now instead of just saying the races are mermaid and human, let's take Little Mermaid and make that girl black. So what we just went over was the summary of a story, which you need to have when you're planning to write. All this is going to be important later. Normally though, you have something much shorter called a log line that will give you a much briefer explanation of the story, but we got our summary. Now, I'm going to tell the same story and it will represent something completely different because I'm going to change the character's race. But before I do, I will hammer in the point about mer people representing black people. We'll do this with another story writing planning technique called world building, showing you what kind of world our character lives in. And it is in a scene that not many people will point to. It's in an argument between Ariel and Triton, where we learn that his hatred of humans is not just racism. He explicitly calls them fish eaters. This is interesting because you would think these part human creatures would also eat fish, right? But you see in the scene where Sebastian visits the boat that he has a traumatic attack seeing all those fish being served up. This shows that he hasn't seen that before, or at least it's not common. Therefore, mer people as a whole don't eat fish. If that's the case, then Triton seeing fish eating as wrong points to one thing. It points to his view that fish are his people. So fish eating is the same as hunting his people. The humans have a history of doing so, of hunting fish. This will be the same way as saying Caucasians have a history of hunting black people. So if Triton is black, the term fish eater is equivalent to saying cracker or oppressor. And how deep is this? We look at another of Triton's enemies, Ursula. What is one of the first things we see her do? Is eat another fish type creature. This shows that Ursula embodies everything Triton hates in humans. Also, that means that she can be a symbol for Caucasians, if not a fat black woman who has a taste for the finer things in life. The finer things being to kill her own people. This is all important because as a writer, one must build the world in which your character lives. This includes the history of your character's home. Notice that the general story arc and the world building seem to cleanly fit into the topic of black race. But what drives the story arc is the character arc. It is the desire the character has that a character flaw prevents them from getting. The character must change and become a better person to get that desire, right? So what is Ariel's desire? Ariel wants to be like the humans. She wants to walk like them, talk like them too. Like King Louis from the Jungle Book. Yes, I compared this girl to a monkey. I'm not apologizing. Ariel wants to get rid of her fins so she can be like humans. If we inject blackness into being a mermaid, she's saying she wants to bleach her skin and straighten her hair. The song Part of Your World says, flipping your fins, you don't get too far. As a black person, that's saying you don't do anything being black in, where is she, Denmark? Yes, Denmark. Or is it Italy? It doesn't matter because Caucasians are the same everywhere. The point is, you can't do much being black in a Caucasian country. Do you see how everything about the Little Mermaid fits so easily into topics about race? Let's keep going. In the song Part of Your World, she says she bets humans don't reprimand their daughters. So she is saying she is a woman who tends to mess up and get in trouble, but she doesn't like being called out for being wrong. If we inject blackness into that, she's a black woman who doesn't like being told by a man that she's wrong. So she wants to join with Caucasians in feminism so she can have power over the black man, which is a quality we easily see in the media today. Therefore, the ocean becomes a symbol of the black community. And if the woman wants to stand up, like Ariel says, sick of swimming, ready to stand, she needs to be like Caucasians. It's funny how this rebellious teenager becomes a symbol for the vast majority of black women. She is 16, by the way. In America, we call 16-year-olds sophomores or sophomoric. The definition of sophomoric is conceited and overconfident of knowledge, but poorly informed and immature. Or lacking in maturity, taste, or judgment. In other words, stupid women. Grown women who never grew up to learn to think like adults. Is this how the black woman wants to be represented in media? Let's see how stupid Ariel is. She says, what would I give to live out of these waters, right? Well, let's find out what kind of price she would pay. Now, I said that we need to build upon the character's flaws. So what are character flaws that Ariel has? One of them obviously is self-hatred for her race, and the other one being stupidity. So, Ariel goes to sell her voice, to a sea witch who promises to make her human. If you didn't know, an octopus is called a devilfish, so she is literally the devil. Ariel goes to trade her voice for a chance to be human. This reflects on black women who stop using their voices to help their people if it could get them more status. This is funny because as a princess, What is the one thing Ariel should know? It is history. Who are her kingdom's enemies? Who are her friends? Why are they the enemies? Knowing Triton, he wants to keep his daughter safe, right? So you're going to tell me he told her about the humans but didn't mention the literal devil who lives close by? I don't believe that. And Ursula even admits it in her song, Poor Unfortunate Souls. She says, I admit that in the past I've been a nasty. They weren't kidding when they called me, well, a witch. This would be equivalent to a Caucasian woman saying, I admit that in the past I've been a racist. They weren't kidding when they called me, well, the devil. So everyone knew she was a devil. It was a common thing. Why would Ariel trust that? Because she is stupid. So she signs a contract that states she'll give up her voice in exchange for higher social status. If you don't think that's what happened, even Halle Berry said that the movie is about wanting more for yourself. Is that the same argument black women make when they sign divorce papers? It's funny that Halle Berry said this because you can tell what's the best thing you could possibly want based on what the villain wants. Talking about you wanting better for yourself. In The Emperor's New Groove, what's the best thing you can possibly want? To be the emperor. How do you know? Because Yzma, the villain, wanted to be empress. In Quest for Camelot, what is the best thing you could possibly want? The sword, Excalibur. How do you know? Because the villain was trying to get Excalibur the entire time. In Aladdin, what is the best thing you could possibly want? To be sultan, to be royalty. How do you know? Because Jafar wanted to be sultan and was willing to try to marry the princess in order to get it. So in this movie, The Little Mermaid, what is the best thing you could possibly want? To be royalty by getting the trident. Ariel already had that because she was the daughter of the king. So what's better that she could want? Ursula had the ability to make people human, but she didn't want that. She wanted the sword, she wanted the weapon that could make storms and control waters. Which means that Ariel didn't want something that was actually better for herself. That's not what the movie is about. Instead, this is about stupid people who don't know how good they have it causing trouble for everyone else. Wait a minute, I think I have a better one. There was a black woman named Eunice Rivers Laurie. She studied medicine. But instead of using that knowledge to help her people, she contracted herself to inject syphilis into her community and to exterminate her people. In other words, this black woman was the death of black people, just like Ariel is the death of her people. Speaking of which, we know that Eric and his kingdom are fishers, right? So what was Ariel eating while she was living with them? After selling her soul, now she preys on her own people as a fish eater. So now what have we done in our story building? We've talked about the general story, the character Flaw, the character arc. We've also introduced the world building and who the antagonist is and the antagonist's motivation. Now we're actually going through the story and get to the meat. Now Ariel becomes a human and is trying to attract Eric. But unlike other princesses, she doesn't cook and she doesn't clean. She doesn't write and she doesn't do accounting. In other words, she has no skills that will make her worthwhile. Now, let's add her blackness to it. When Ariel asked how she's going to attract her Caucasian man without talking, Ursula says, "You've got your looks, your pretty face." And don't forget about body language. In other words, as a black woman, you have nothing valuable to say, but you can shake your big behind on TV. That'll get you attention. Ever heard of OnlyFans? Black women are stupid and have no skills except knowing how to shake their butts. Anyway, in the end, her friends had to step up to help her get the man because left alone, the black woman can't get a high value man, or any man for that matter. No one likes them for the reasons I've stated in this video. But of course, she is a failure and Ursula comes to collect her soul. Because of that, King Triton had to step in and sacrifice his life for hers. In racial terms, black women get their people killed or enslaved. And now, Ariel's mad. But I'm sure she wasn't mad because of what happened in Triton. No, Ariel is mad because things didn't go the way she wanted. She abandoned her father who tried to protect her. She put her friends in turmoil to keep her alive. She caused all this trouble with no regard for anyone else. And she sold herself to Ursula to do it. She knew Ursula was the devil, but was angry when Ursula was the devil to her specifically. So, what is this movie saying to the black women? You destroyed your communities. You divorce and tear apart your families. You murder millions of people through abortion experiments. You taught your daughters to hate themselves because you want to be like Caucasians. You're the ones who called the police on your ex who just wanted to see his sons. You're the reason he's dead. You're the reason for every bad thing in the black community. Everything is your fault. And now you want to cry and say Black Lives Matter because everyone gave you exactly what you asked for? You are a senseless, sophomoric, self-destructive people who need everyone else to save you from yourselves. It's no wonder King Triton divorced her from his kingdom. She was too much trouble. She is for the streets. Let your women keep silence in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law. And I find more bitter than death the woman, whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleases God shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. If she go not as thou wouldest have her, cut her off from thy flesh, and give her a bill of divorce, and let her go. The words of King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him. What my son, and what the son of my womb, and what the son of my vows. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways unto that which destroyeth kings. And you know what the worst part is? Ariel didn't change throughout the movie. She didn't learn that her actions have consequences or that her disregard for others is dangerous. She has had no character growth at all. Now, I don't know about you, but if someone used Ariel to represent me, I'd be very, very angry. By the way, in the Bible, King Saul had a rebellious daughter named Michal. Like Ariel, Michal, though, loved David. So King Saul thought, if I give her to David to be his wife, she'll destroy him. And now we know why King Triton let Eric marry his young black daughter. Now, I'm not one for normally talking about injecting race in movies and media, but if you want me to do it again, comment about the Chronicles of Narnia, because I meant to include that, but it got kind of long and I thought it would take a long time, so I had to take it out. If you want it, comment. If you want to see what happens if I inject something like the Bible into Final Fantasy X, like and subscribe. I import those every Friday. And I'll see you next time on Lamech's Effects.